Hey, what's going on, everybody? So this week we have the Packers facing off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So taking a look at these two teams, I feel like they started off on two completely different sides. We have the Steelers coming in week one, beating the Buffalo Bills. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, the Steelers, they're good. Then we have the Packers on the other hand, losing to the New Orleans Saints 38-3. Terrible start for the Packers. And in the past 2 weeks, the Steelers have lost their last two games, both at home, and the Packers have won their past two games. So now the Packers are sitting at 2-1. The Steelers are sitting at 1-2, and the Steelers will be traveling to Green Bay, facing off against this Packers team that just won, as time expired. Super exhilarating game. And I think this Packers team is fired up. I think this Packers defense is fired up, considering the steps they've taken, in the past couple weeks, improving on this defense. And I think overall, this Packers team is dangerous right now, as opposed to the Steelers team that hasn't looked too good in the past couple weeks. So I want to break down this game, sort of give some predictions for this game. And if you guys have yet to subscribe, you want to see more Packers content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel down below. But if we take a look last week at sort of how well the Steelers looked, they didn't look very good. First off, taking a look at their rushing stats. So they only rushed for 45 yards in that game. Najee Harris had 14 carries for 40 yards, average 2.9 yards per carry, 45 yards total rushing. So the fact that you come in and draft a running back so early and then, you're having trouble running the ball, definitely not something you want to see. Ben Roethlisberger passed the ball 38 for 58. 318 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and they lost to the Bengals 24-10. So this Steelers offense has really been struggling, so far this season, especially when it comes to the running game. Right now, they are the worst team in the NFL when it comes to rushing yards per game, averaging 53 rushing yards per game. So you add that to the fact that Ben Roethlisberger has thrown for 801 yards, only 3 touchdowns in 3 games, as well as 3 interceptions, and a 79 passer rating. I mean, it's going to be tough for the Steelers to win any game if their offense is playing so terribly. So then we take a look at the Packers defense, who in week one got absolutely, destroyed. But so far, week after week, they have made, I'd say, big steps forward. We've been wondering with this Packers defense with Joe Barry, are we going to figure things out? Because, of course, Joe Barry coming in as a new DC this offseason. The first game definitely looked terrible, and I think all of us Packers fans were very worried, and we're like, oh no, what's going to happen? But if we take a look at the past few games, I covered this in a video the other day. Game after game, we've gotten better when it comes to stopping the rush. So last game against the 49ers, we only allowed 67 rushing yards. I know people have said, oh, they have tons of injuries for their running backs, but still the fact that Packers were able to come in there and stop a 49ers team who, typically is pretty good when it comes to running the ball, holding them to 67 yards. You also add the fact that we were able to come in there, get 2 sacks and 11 hits versus the 49ers. So I think you take this Steelers offense coming up against this Packers defense that I think has consistently gotten better week after week, which makes sense considering this is a new system. And, I was sort of wondering maybe, as time goes by, maybe this Packers defense will continue, to take steps forward. And they did that last week, getting 2 sacks and 11 hits. So I see no reason why the Packers can't come in here, pressure Big Ben at home, cause him to make some, mistakes. And then we add the fact that last week the Bengals were able to sack Ben Roethlisberger 4 times. So I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to say the Packers intercept Ben Roethlisberger 2 times in this game. I think the Packers are going to be able to get pressure on Big Ben. I think they're going to sack him, 4 or 5 times. So I think this is going to be a dominant game for this Packers defense. Then moving to the other side of the ball, we have Aaron Rodgers coming off that great performance versus the San Francisco 49ers. As we all know, the 49ers gave Aaron Rodgers way too much time at the end of that game. So Aaron Rodgers went 23 for 33, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 113.3 rating. And the Packers were able to run the ball a little bit more. Aaron Jones, 19 carries, 82 yards, 4.3 yards per carry. So one thing to watch out for this game is, is TJ Watt going to play? Probably the most dominant, player on that Steelers defense, on that Steelers defensive line. He did miss last week, but so far this week on Wednesday's practice, he was limited. So we'll see if he plays. Obviously, he is, a big difference maker. And, the Steelers defense is, probably their better side of the ball, considering they are the 12th ranked scoring defense in the NFL so far this season. But if we take a look last week to sort of how well Joe Burrow played against the Steelers defense, of course they were missing TJ Watt. He threw for 3 touchdowns, a 122.9 rating, and they sacked Joe Burrow 0 times in that game. So I think you just take Aaron Rodgers against the Steelers defense, regardless of if TJ Watt is playing or if he's not playing. I see no reason why the Packers won't be able to move the ball against this Steelers defense. You know, last week we faced a pretty good San Francisco 49ers team, and we were worried, or I was a little bit worried about the pass rush of the 49ers. You know, with Elton Jenkins being out, already being our second guy there at left tackle, filling in for David Bakhtiari. But the Packers' offensive line was able to come in there and do a really, really good job. Josh Nijman did a great job there, filling in for Elton Jenkins at left tackle. And they only sacked Aaron Rodgers once in that game. So I'd say before last week's game, I was a little worried to, how the offensive line would handle the pass rush. Now that I've seen, just how good they were handling that pass rush versus the 49ers, that gives me hope versus a pretty solid Steelers defensive line. So my prediction for this game is going to be Packers 28, Steelers 17. But I'll be curious, drop your score predictions in the comments down below. But that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.